Hello, 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 and welcome. It's been a while since I've sort of done a close-up shot of things like this. I just sort of talk things through. I do. Anyway, here we see the inside of a 1541 disk drive. It is a Neutronics drive, and it is now running through the torture test and filling the disk. That's what it's a-doing. Now, this drive right now is not inside of its own disk drive. It is sitting next to another one. Because this has been a long process of trying to figure out what's what. Because this disk drive would work, but not spin. So what I did, and I'm going to use one of the screwdrivers I brought up that I didn't have to use. What I did is this little board and this motor are connected. They have a little a plug that has would go into three prongs with, it looks like, a brown wire and an orange wire. So, and that's right here. I think there's a black wire too. Black, brown, and orange. That's the one you need. Anyway, the circuit board that this is now operating off of is the same one that came with this drive. So, the drive and the board are working together, because with a 1541, there's the power supply, there's the circuit board, there's the drive mechanism. And basically, any trouble has got to be one of those three things. And so far, to date, I've never found a bad power supply. Not that they don't happen, but I just haven't found one. And this is the first time I've had a drive that just won't spin. On a 4040, I have changed the motors a time or two, because I have had things like that. But on the 1541, never. And if you watch through all the videos, you know I had a torturous time finding just, what was needed. Now, this board and the motor were on a disk drive that actually has a dead head, which I saved for parts, which I never figured I would actually need. But you never deplete your spares. So anyway, I did remove the board. The board, there's a screw here, and there's a screw right on there. And then you may still find that the whole thing does not want to come off. You might. And this little dude here, I should use my screwdriver, but I don't want to touch it. You might have to gently give it a little help with, typically, I would say, a flatbed screwdriver, because it tends to be stuck there. Don't do anything dramatic, but just give it a little tweak, and it will probably come off, and then the board will come off, and then you have to flip the drive over, and there's two screws that are Phillips screws. Everything's a Phillips screw in here, pretty much. There are two of them that need to be undone to remove the motor, and then, of course, eventually when you put it back together, you got to put the belt back on, and away she goes. Okay, well, this worked. And that is a good thing. We're going to do this again? Yes, we are. We're going to do it one more time. I'm running through the performance test. Maybe we'll zoom in on this. Oh, I need to. Da-da-da. Maybe we'll zoom in there on everything. There you can see the head. And it's now going to format the disk. And it's going to bang the head, and then it will systematically go across the disk. It will. And torment it some more. So as we get a closer look, remember, this is the board I took out. Or I took it out and replaced it. This is the motor. And here is the head, doing its magical thing. It is formatting the disk. And as it goes, we can see it's going across each track and formatting the sectors. Oh, this is exciting. I've never had to do, and of course the other thing is that people say, "Why do you keep that junk? Why do you keep that junk?" Well, you never know when you might need, the motor off a Neutronics disk drive. Ah. So soon this should be finished formatting, and then it should move to the stage of the operation where it reads, writes, formats. Sorry, no, it's not format. Writes, reads. Yes. It will open a file. It will write data. Then it will verify the data. And then it will do lots of other things. It will. Excuse me, I gotta stand up for a moment. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now it is writing data, it is closing the file, it is reading. There we go. It is reading data. This is the typical what do they call it? Performance test. Although I found this, it will, you can tell it to format, you can tell it to run the program, 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. It's called the 1541 burn. And I can't stop it right now to tell you who modified the program. And then I since modified it. Now here's something I added, where the program will go back and forth between track 1 and 35 and track 1 and 35 many, 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 many times. I find this is an excellent way to exercise the disk drive. It is. And it does it a number of times. And then when it's all done with that, it will head off and do a new thing that I've added, where it is now filling the disk. So now the disk is essentially empty. But by the time this is done, it will have one block free. One. Because if memory serves me correctly, the file is 17 blocks, and it saves that file, which is in memory, onto the disk 39 times. So it uses all the single-digit numbers, uses all the single-digit letters, and then I think it's Z1, Z2, Z3. And it fills the disk. And that is what it does. And I figured that is a pretty good way to test. I like what the performance test has always done, but I always thought, it wouldn't be bad if it just did a little bit more. And I did do one for the 2031 because I couldn't run this one on it at the time. And it doesn't do all the things that this one does, but it does open a sequential file and fill up the disk. It does. So I know this is not the most exciting thing, and the thing you can tell, the way this is running, is every time it does a file, it has to go back to the directory and back over here and back over there. And as it's getting more and more into it, because it starts to use the disk from sort of the inside and then end up on the outside, the more the head is moving to the outside, the more it's the closer it is to getting finished. That's what it is doing. So, yay, a successful fix. I am, you know what, it's funny because these things, if you look back at the video, and we've seen in the other video where I had to literally take a hammer and smack the screws that were holding the drive into the rail, I was getting mighty discouraged. And I know the screws have been in there for more than 40 years, and there's micro corrosion and maybe a tweak of rust, but excuse me, it is very rare that you will ever see that I am taking a hammer to a delicate vintage computer part of any sort. But today I did, and I had to smack each screw probably in the vicinity of 10 times. 2 or 3 just didn't cut it, so I just smacked some more, and then one finally came, and another. So basically, finally got them to break free. I was considering something my dad had, and he would always say, "Well, this might help," and it's called penetrating oil. And I'm not sure I have any, but I did ponder taking the kind of syringe thing I got at the hobby store, which sadly has since closed, and kind of squeezing a bit in there, but it's really, really tight. But that's what lubricants do. They take things that are tight, they get in there, and hopefully also help break free any resistance there might be to the unscrewing procedure. Yeah. Anyway, I did not. I used a hammer. I used a screwdriver, and I can't say I swung recklessly, but certainly I used significant force to get this to work, or to get the screws out. So you can't take the motor out without getting the drive completely out of the rail. The rail is the part of the disk drive that holds everything. Really, it's like a metal thing. And remember, Commodore had a like a metal thing. They made um, filing cabinets and all kinds of things. So where you see a hunk of metal, just so, and it's got lots of bends and things and tangs and stuff. Well, yeah, that made sure that the Commodore metal metal making, metal bending, metal manipulating division had lots of work. Millions of these things. Now, I would suspect they were done by that. Maybe they were not. Anyway, so when I'm all done with this, and I've tested it all, then right now, the drive you see in front of you is the one that had to be fixed, that had the motor replaced. The board that's in the disk drive above it is the original board that was in the original disk drive, and basically these two things came together. But I had to use other parts and other drives to get to this point. I did. So, when this is all said and done, the disk drive mechanism and this board need to go back onto their rail and into their case, where they will be happy. And then the one that I took apart needs to be reassembled. And then it will be happy. Happy, happy, happy. So as you can hear, and probably as you can see, the drive head is moving quite a bit more. There we go. Maybe. As the disk is slowly filled, it moves farther out and back and forth to write the file and sort things out. It does. And then eventually, but we're not there yet, it will stop doing that. It will stop spinning, and it will say, I'm good. I'm done. What now? But we're not there yet, because it does take a while. I am thinking that after this successful operation goes, maybe, because I still want to test this further, and you may be able to tell I'm feeling a little sleepy. I've been up since very, 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 very early today, that I might have a nap. But while I'm doing that, I may set this thing up to record a time lapse of this procedure many, many times. And then I can set that to music. It's always fun to see the head moving back and forth on the shaft very quickly. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Oh, I must be getting tired. Yes, the head moves back and forth on two smooth shafts. It does. Oh, this sounds like it must be getting close. It's really moving a long way away and back. It is. Oh, yeah. Okay, it's done. And now it will stop spinning. That's it. So, if you ever have a disk drive that just ain't, and it's not spinning, there is hope. Maybe someday I will explore to find out whether the motor was dead or the circuit board was dead. But this is not that day. All right, I'm going to get up. Then I think I will put the microphone to charge, hook up the charger directly to the phone, and set this on a whole lot of passes through this program, and set up the time lapse. Anyway, thanks for following through this incredibly long journey to fix one disk drive. But kind of like childbirth, it's all good. Why? Because it worked out in the end. It's all good. All right, I'm going to get up. I'm going to stop the recording. Have a lovely day. Bye for now.